Hi, if you are here, say hi. So I know you're here. Today is episode 7 already of Life Interrupted. So, Life Interrupted is our show where we talk about support for parents, support for kids, and we provide racial equity, diversity, and inclusion resources, all that can be helpful during the coronavirus stuff, right? So, how are we getting through all of this that's happening right now and providing some support? As you guys know, if there are any specific topics you want to talk about, issues that are coming up, post it in the Facebook group in the Multiracial Parenting Network, or reach out to me. I'm happy to cover any topic. Um, It is over here. It's not late, but it feels late, right? For those of you who have young kids, or right, those of us who are home with kids, probably just in general. For my kids, it's bedtime, so if you hear some crying in the background, that would be why. You know how sometimes that goes when you have little kids. Um, it's for those of you who know, it's been a long day, right? It's 8 o'clock here. Those of you I know parents, right? We're starting to like check out around this time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, start to get really tired. Um, So I'm there with you. If you, so we're going to get into it. So make sure we're good. Give 1 second. Oh, to record. Do it again. Okay. And all right, we're good. If you have any questions, feel free to ask while we're going through this. We're also going to be posting this on YouTube, so you can find it all in one place. All right. So today, for today's episode, what we're doing is typically we do 3 segments, right? We do support for parents, support for kids, and then our resources separate. Today we're going to actually be combining the support for parents and kids because it overlaps a little bit. So with today's way that we're talking about support is I want to talk about looking at things differently, right? So taking a step back from everything going on right now in our everyday routine to look at the bigger picture, right? Because when we look at like why are we in the situation that we're in right now, it's very much due to reasons, right? Who people made decisions that weren't made poor decisions, which is why we're in the current situation, right? People in our government made poor decisions, and now we're in this current pandemic, right? There were things that could have been done ahead of time that could have prevented the situation we're in. And when we think about like what changes, there's so much going on. What things can be done to prevent all of the things, right? All the inequity that's going on, right? It's inequity that was there before, but now is heightened because of the coronavirus, right? What does change look like? So I want us to take a step back as parents when we think about that. How do we where do we have power to create change? What does that look like? And taking a step back to kind of say, how do we use that? Whether it's our anger, whether it's our frustration, whether it's our feelings of overwhelm, how do we use our feelings and put them into a container that helps us push for change, right? Because if we don't do that, we're going to stay stuck in sort of this same cycle of things keep happening, keep happening, keep happening. So what can we do to to be part of creating that change? The other part of that, when we talk about support for kids related to that, how are we teaching our kids to be part of creating change? How are we helping them understand what is going on right now and helping them understand that they are going to be part of a world as they're growing up and that they will at some point be adults and be participating in ways? How do we create the change? How do we teach them and model for them ways of creating change? I think it's really important, right, when you think about that, because they're the next generation that's going to have this power. And what does that look like? What are ways that we can get them involved? So what I wanted to talk about, I'm sure by now most everybody's probably heard of it. If you haven't, it's been all over the news. Let me just pull it up. So I have it in front of me. The killing of Ahmaud Arbery, a Black man that was 25 years old, jogging through a neighborhood and was killed by 2 white supremacists, right? It's been all over the news and they have not been arrested, right? So it's like all of this was going on in the middle of this pandemic. So in addition to the fact that, so it's kind of like, what steps can we take now, right? How can we make sure that change is happening, right? It's a different environment where before protests, right? You could go outside and there might be a protest. We can't be physically in the places where we maybe were before when we were challenging different systems. Actually, I wanted to share my screen so you guys can see this page. I didn't share yet, did it? Okay. Share screen. Okay. So if you look up runwithmaud.com, there's both a petition that you can sign and you can make calls. So it walks you through the steps, right? It tells you what happened and talks about sort of that justice still has not been served, right? And I believe this was something that happened, and it's in February, right? So it's only just becoming national news now. And it's something that happened in February. And there was so much focus, right, on this pandemic that it is, and what change needs to happen, right? So we need to be making those phone calls. We need to be signing the petition. We need to be doing everything we can. And we need to be teaching our kids, how do we stand up and create change? And it's not just, right, like white supremacists, but when we think about these systemic racism, how do we create that change? How are we playing our part in working towards challenging these systems that are not working, right? The other thing that comes up a lot, right? Voting. What is it? How are we preparing for voting in, well, I mean, I know still some stuff going on now, but like November, right? The big election in November. Are we preparing, we may not be, if we can't physically show up in every place for the ballots, right? Is the mail-in ballots an option? Are there absentee ballots? How do you get them? How does that work? Are we looking into that? Are we teaching our children what that looks like, right? Are we teaching our children that this is what this means? So that's really important. So that's when we talk about, so as far as support for kids and support for parents, it's really about how do we take the emotions of the pain, the emotions of the frustration, the hurt, the anger, and use that to create change. Use it as a tool so that we are actively part of creating change. And I'll post the link too, so you guys can follow up with that. The other part, so the last part, so changing course now, but the last segment for today is our racial equity, diversity, and inclusion resource, which today what I wanted to share with you is the website We Need Diverse Books, and has a spot. Let me share that with you too. So while we're talking, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the website, We Need Diverse Books. And if you click under resources, it will take you to where to find diverse books. So you can go here, resources, where to find diverse books. There's obviously a ton of resources here, but this specifically wanted to show you, since kids are home right now and we're looking for ways, right? Maybe additional reading for them, supplemental things for them being home. It's going to be summertime, so there may be some downtime. You may be choosing books for them. So this has a ton of resources, and you could just click on each of the things, right? These are different links. So it goes through a ton of different resources and places to get books. So I just wanted to share that. I think that's a really helpful one. And it compiles a list of recommendations of diverse titles. So that is, let's stop the share. That is our segment, our episode, right, of Life Interrupted for today. I do hope so. We do this twice a week. I do it on Sunday mornings at 9:30 and Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Both are Eastern time. As you can see, for most people, it works out, right? That's bedtime and time when I have. So we work, weekend time. Those of us, right, working, trying to work and have childcare, how all that plays out. But so I just wanted to, and I'm going off on a tangent now, right? But so it's 2 times a week. If there are questions, please let me know. If there are topics you want me to cover, please let me know. If there are issues, right, that are coming up for your family during this pandemic, or just that are coming up that maybe were there before and now they're heightened, or maybe, whatever issues, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whatever, or anything, right? Issues with schoolwork, family, challenges as far as, disagreements coming up, family dynamics causing you trouble. Those are all the things we want to be able to talk about. So I want to encourage you to join me again. Reach out if there are any other topics you want me to cover. And I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Take care.